Biden is set to sign his $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill later today, but the rest of his tax and spending agenda is in limbo as fears grow it may make already sky-high inflation even worse. Our next guest is exposing the socialist fine print in the Build Back Better plan. Florida Congressman Carlos Jimenez joins me now. So you have read this bill. You know what's in it. What would happen to this country if Build Back Better passes?
Well, I call it the Bbb Bs bill. I mean, they tell you that there's going to be 2 million additional jobs created when actually the Wharton School of Business has indicated that there would be 200,000 jobs lost. They say that only people with $400,000 and more are going to get a tax increase, or again, that same school says 80% of Americans will see a tax increase. The actual tax breaks are going to go to the very rich. There's a SALT provision in there, which is the state and local taxes, that raises that limit up to $80,000. So if you're paying $80,000 in taxes and state and local taxes, you're probably making over $1 million a year. They're going to get a break. And then in terms of inflation, you know, it's supposed to be like $1.8 trillion. So you're going to add $1.8 trillion to the economy, and somehow inflation is going to go down. Again, that's another you know, big fat lie that lies in this bill, and that's why it's very unpopular and it shouldn't pass, because it's going to damage the American economy. There are other things in that bill that are just, you know, horrendous and should never pass because it's really trying to change what America's all about and what America has been.
President Biden always uses that phrase that he wants to rebuild the country from the bottom up and the middle out, and he says that things like the child tax credit and paid family leave will do that. What's your response to that?
Yeah, well, you know, the paid family leave, I mean, not the child tax credit is actually something the Republicans did in 1997, but there's a work component, you know, attached to it. Now they're trying to take away the work component, so now you just sit home and collect for your kids. That's a disincentive to work. And if you look around, I mean, all the help wanted signs around the country, it's that, you know, our businesses are clamoring for more workers, and this will disincentivize people from getting back to work and spurring our economy forward and really moving America forward. So everything about this plan is really a step back for America. We're going to inundate our children and our grandchildren with an unbelievable mountain of debt that they're going to have to pay for decades, you know, to pay it off. And so, you know, this is just a really bad deal. Look, the entire agenda of the Democrats has been a disaster. What they did in Afghanistan, what they've done at the border, now what they're trying to do to our economy, it's just a disaster. And the poll numbers show it. You know, it's going, you know, downhill fast, and I don't see them, you know, I don't see them,
do you think it's going to
away.
pass? Do you think this is going to pass? Because like you pointed out, it was found that this bill would increase taxes on 20 to 30% of middle income earners, and that breaks President Biden's promise not to raise taxes on people making less than $400,000 a year. So how are moderate Democrats in swing states going to vote for this?
Well, I don't know. Ask them, because you know what? So far, every single, you know, crazy leftist agenda idea that's gone to Congress, they voted for. They voted with a progressive. So I don't know if there's any moderate Democrats left. They may say they're moderate, but they don't vote moderate. They vote with a progressive wing. And so I'll be very surprised if this thing doesn't pass, at least through, you know, the House. We'll see what happens in the Senate. Hopefully, Manchin and Sinema can, you know, can stand up and say no and save America from this monstrous bill.
And where everybody's waiting for that Congressional Budget Office score to see what happens on that front. Congressman Jimenez, thank you so much for joining us.